Hello, Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive. I love my new intro. I just got to see that for the first time, and I think it just looks so great. So thank you, Keone and team, for making that happen. Welcome to Demystify the Divine, weekly readings and tools to connect. So excited to be connecting with all of you tonight. How has your week been? I'm going to just start today by basically saying that a lot of my clients today in particular were commenting on the weird, wacky, wonky energy that's been going on today. And we are in sort of a Mars and Gemini thing going on astrologically, and we are in Mercury retrograde.
Oh, come on.
I know. I'm telling you. And Keone, you and I were talking about that because I'm a Virgo and you're a Gemini. So it's our ruling planet is Mercury. Like it's there. So it affects us all the time. So yeah, if you're feeling some wonky energy, you're not alone. And you're also not cuckoo. There's a lot of weirdness that's going on, and weirdness in terms of communication in some pretty big ways. And I want to say words matter. Words are important. That's been coming up a lot lately, just in the last few days, that we really need to focus on and pay attention to the words that we use. Our words matter. I'm going to say it's really important for each of us over the next, I want to say a couple of months. And so I know this is a weekly show, and so I might be talking about it again over the next few months. But the next couple of months, you really want to be paying attention to, I'm having a conversation with someone. I'm trying to get something done. Maybe I really need to take a step back a little bit and evaluate what it is that I'm trying to get done and how I really want to say it. Because if we're just speaking and we're just putting things out there, it's not going to go so well. You will be misunderstood at times. There will be more anger or more flare-ups. And we don't need that. That's not what we are here to do. We're not here to, get all worked up and get angry with one another. We're actually here to assist each other in our own goals, right? In where each of us wants to head. And we all, for the most part, we all are coming from a heart-based place with that. We want to see other people do well. We want to see people thrive. And so let's try to avoid misunderstanding and miscommunication as much as we possibly can. So having said that, I am going to tune in and channel our word of the week, or sometimes it's a phrase of the week. And for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, what you're going to experience here is a little bit of everything. We do some channeling, we do some readings, we do some learning Q&A to learn how to work with your tarot deck or an oracle deck if you choose to connect with that. We do some archangel channelings and messaging that comes through. We also do a general reading to tap into the energies for the week. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. And we also, I include a couple of questions for card pulls so that you can take the general message that comes through and you can apply it to your individual life and your individual selves. So there's a lot that's jam-packed into this particular show. If you want to go live, and we love having people go live, put in, I think County put something here in the feed that you can email countyproductions@gmail.com and let him know that you want to go live. And we would be happy to bring you on the show. If you're a bit camera shy, you can always just go on audio. Or if you're really camera shy and you're not interested in any of that mumbo jumbo stuff, you just want to watch and get the goods, which I can appreciate. Just put your questions or put your comments or your feedback in the comment section, and we will be happy to address it. Okay, so Keone, I'm going into my happy place right now, and we're going to get our word of the week or our phrase of the week.
All right, I'd go to my happy place, but that's a bar down the street, so I'm going to stay right here.
pleasure in connection. So this week, we want to find ways to take pleasure in the connections that we have with one another. And what I'm really feeling here is that the divine is trying to convey to us that through all of the pomp and circumstance, through all of the nonsense and shenaniganery that goes on, the real true purpose for each of us to be on the planet is to feel joy, to take pleasure in what this earth has to offer. And we can get sidelined with that. We can get waylaid because there is so much drama. There's so much distraction. And it's up to each of us to really put a focus on what brings me pleasure. And we are all here to connect with one another, to experience joy for ourselves, and to be able to have deep, meaning, lasting connection, deep, meaningful, lasting connections with others in a joyful state. So this week, I'm really feeling that the message and the energy coming through is how can we make all connections more pleasurable in our day-to-day life? And they are talking about the day-to-day. They're not necessarily talking about, the overarching picture. And I don't even feel necessarily like they're talking about the collective. I feel that this message is really talking about connecting on an individual level, or connecting with self, and really making a choice to say, okay, what's going to bring me more joy? What's going to bring me pleasure in this particular moment or in this particular space? We as humans often have this, or I shouldn't say as humans, we as people interested in spirituality, or people who are connecting to that energetic side of ourselves, there's this concept or this limiting belief out there that to be spiritual means to be devoid of pleasure, or to deny yourself pleasure because somehow pleasure is bad. This is a limiting belief that comes from all sorts of places. And I won't even go into where it comes from. We don't need to do that. We need to focus on our now. And our now says we live on this beautiful planet that provides us with whatever it is that we could possibly need. We are all opening to this idea of, okay, I'm able to manifest. I'm here to co-create, and I get to be a part of what my life experience is like while I'm here in this physical body, or in this human existence. So why not take advantage of the pleasure that is afforded me? Why not enjoy the human form, the physical body? Why not enjoy the foods and the lovely drink? And why not enjoy the pleasures of the body? Why not enjoy the experience of being able to walk in physical form? And of course, when we come into these bodies, we have to forget who we are. And then the process is sort of remembering our core existence, remembering our soul flame and our soul essence. In the process of that, I feel like it's important for us to recognize that we chose to come into a physical body, and that there are other forms that we can take when we are not in the physical body that doesn't afford us all of these opportunities that this physical vehicle does. So this week, how can you be conscious of that and give yourself permission to say, you know what? I think I do deserve to have a little more joy, or to have a little more fun. I want a little bit of pleasure in my life, in whatever form that takes. I deserve that, and I'm going to create it for myself. I'm going to give myself those experiences, and I'm going to be very present and aware when I'm having those experiences, so that I can catalog it, so that I can always access it when I need a reminder of why I'm here, and when I need a reminder of what I need to prioritize in my life. Notice I said the word need, because it is a need. Our spiritual self-care and self-tending is a need. It's not a want. It's a requirement. And we are coming into that space now, coming into more of that awareness and understanding of our needs as spiritual beings having a human experience. And a lot of it has to do with releasing limiting beliefs, That's a really big lesson for all of us this week. Okay, so forgot to say, if you like what you see here, feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell on my YouTube channel. I'm also really happy to see all of my Facebook, my former Winged Wednesday peeps coming in for my Demystify the Divine. Really excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for continuing to enjoy this journey with me. I'm grateful to you guys. So, we've done our word of the week. I've got my little cheat sheet here that I'm looking at. Okay, now I need to channel a supportive message from the Arcs. So we're going to channel the Archangel Collective. Do you have a fun title for that, Keone?
No, it's in the works. So
It's in the works. All right. So we're going to pretend
cool
that there's some flashy thing that's coming up that says all cool Archangel stuff.
I could sing it, but you've got 11 viewers right now. It might drop to 2.
All right. Well, we'll let you sing in theory. We'll let you sing in theory, and I'm gonna go in and see what Archangel wants to come through with a message for us today. Greetings, dear ones. I am Archangel Raphael, and I wish to share with you today a reminder around the energy of spring and what springtime brings to each of you. When you are in the season of spring, there is much growth. There is effort in the growth, but the growth does happen. There is abundance in relation to nutrient-rich soil, to spring water, falling rain, to the tilling of the soil, and the thought processes that go into where the seeds need to be planted for optimum bloom and production. This is the period of time that you are in collectively. And while we know that this is not actually the season that you are in, we are referring to the energy of the season. And this is what is important for you to keep in mind. There is much work that is involved at this time in preparing your garden for future growth, for the foundation to support the growth that is required to have an abundant and plentiful garden. While you may all be seeing this as more chaotic than you would like, it is important to understand that the growth process is chaotic from your standards. When the seed has to fight through the soil and the shale and the rock in order to reach out and stretch itself to reach the surface, there is effort. There may even be uncomfortability, but the seed does not question the effort. The seed simply does what it came here to do. And when it breaks through the soil and feels the sun for the first time, there is joy. There is the ability to experience joy in that form and in all the forms that it becomes as it grows and reaches its fullest potential. This is the season that you are in collectively. We bring about the message of joy because that is the message that we wish to convey. You have learned about pleasure. Pleasure brings joy. We in the collective want nothing more than for each of you to be in a space of joy. For when you are in joy, we are in joy also. And we are all one. I am grateful to share this message with all of you at this time. Be well. Be in joy. Okay, so Keone, what time is it? Time for the card pulling. I love it. I got to share with you guys. This is something funny. So I'm not like a huge kid person. I don't have children of my own. I really have a hard time with the younger ones. I just can't relate. You've got to be in like swearing mode or in the age where swearing doesn't wound you, and then I can handle you. But I remember years and years ago with my niece and nephew, babysitting them, and they were watching, there was some show, and it might even be a Canadian show, so some of my American peeps might not even know what I'm talking about, but there was this little thing that I've never forgotten. What time is it? It's time for lunch. What time is it? It's time for lunch. What time is it? It's time for lunch. And I have never forgotten this. And when Keone was creating all of these beautiful things, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, what time is it then? You know, how do I know how to bring you up into, you know, to show this, it's time for card pulling. And so now every time this comes up, this is what goes on in my head. What time is it? It's time for lunch. So anyway, random moments, random thoughts from the mind of Stacy.
Was that in black and white?
Maybe it is. I don't know. Anything is possible. So, okay. TMI from Stacy. All right. So we are pulling our tarot card from the Star Tarot by Kathy Mcclelland. Ooh, and we keep getting this. I think we got this either last week or the week before too. Three of Swords. So let's talk about the Three of Swords. Three of Swords traditionally is seen as heartbreak and sorrow. You know, a lot of grief that comes in this because someone has, you know, put these spears in your heart or put these swords in your heart. Three of Swords is actually a reflection of what you need to do to self-care. That sometimes, yeah, our hearts get hurt, and it's not because somebody intentionally is setting out to hurt us. Sometimes that is the case. From time to time, you do run into somebody who just happens to be mean or happens to be enacting whatever soul contract it happens to be that they're enacting, and you're involved in it, and they need to displace their anger or their fear or their frustration, and you're the target. You happen to get it. But more often than not, when we get hurt, it's not because the other person is intentionally trying to hurt us. It's how we receive it. It's the misunderstanding and miscommunication that we were just talking about with our pleasure message. It's understanding that, okay, when this happens, I don't need to worry so much about the why did you hurt me? Why did you say this? Why did you say that? That all can come later. It's how do I take care of myself? How do I provide self-care to be able to nurture the heart space and to understand that my thoughts, how I am thinking about this situation and how my ego is influencing this situation is directly affecting how I'm feeling into the situation, how my heart is feeling. And we have the ability to shift our feelings, shift our emotions through the thought process. If your thoughts are continuing to wound you, or you feel like someone's words have wounded you, and that's what you're focusing on, rather than the, okay, how do I heal the heart? How do I remove the swords? How do I remove that and take care of myself? If you're not in a space where you're able to take care of yourself in that moment, you're going to stay in a perpetual state of that pain, heartbreak, and sorrow. And so, you know, I know we're all human, and I have been here multiple times, and I can tell you I'm a sensitive Sally. So, and I'm saying this, it's definitely channeled information for you, and it's also channeled information for me. When we get stuck on the why did you say this? Why did you do that? Why are you hurting me? We keep ourselves in a perpetual state of that sorrow, that grief, that pain, that heartache and heartbreak. If we're talking about pleasure, being our focus this week. This week, we also want to look at how can we bring more joy into a situation. Joy is the thing that's going to dissolve or remove these thoughts. Swords can be thoughts. Thoughts can be weapons or tools, right? How can we remove the weapons from our heart space so that we can fill the heart with joy? And filling the heart with joy is going to fill in all of the cuts and the holes that the swords have made, right? So it's giving ourselves permission to take radical care of ourselves. 3 also is creation. And I feel like the message that we're all getting this week is really paying attention to what are your thoughts creating? And what are your thoughts creating in relation to the heart space? Are you even aware that the heart is involved in your decision-making processes? Or are you so in your mind that you are making decisions from an unaware place? When we make decisions from a place of unaware, we open ourselves to heartbreak and hurt. We open ourselves to being more vulnerable because we're not making decisions that include all of us, wholeness, the integration of head, heart, and soul, right? Head, heart, spirit, soul. I kind of use those interchangeably, the spirit and the soul. So what are your thoughts creating? How are your thoughts playing into the experiences that you're having at this time? And we're talking about experiences where you are feeling more wounded to a certain degree, feeling hurt, feeling victimized or ostracized or isolated or, not included. Whatever it is that you're feeling, you want to really evaluate, what is it I've been thinking about? Because the thoughts become things. So there's a part that and I'm not trying to say we bring on our own pain. That's such a bizarre way of, in my opinion, bizarre way of looking at pain and grief and loss. And it's not honoring how we feel. And it's not honoring the fact that we're all on this, big wide worldwide stage, I should say, playing roles for other people, playing out this grand theater. Right. And it's important to understand that our thoughts do play a role because we are co-creators in our own life. So wherever you're feeling the pain, wherever you're feeling the heartbreak, pay attention to what you're thinking about it, because what you're thinking about around that pain could very easily be contributing to that wound remaining fresh, remaining open, constantly being brought awareness to. I'm just going to use this as an analogy. I remember as a kid, I'd get stung by a mosquito and it would be brutal. And, don't scratch it, put an X in it. You have to just give it a minute before you can forget about it and move on to something else. If you can't resist the urge, you're scratching it and it makes it worse. It gets bigger and it's more painful and it's icky and it's gooey and ugh, right? Whereas, you want to gouge somebody's eyeballs out when they tell you, just give it a minute and stop thinking about it. But really, when you do forget about it, the problem goes away. You let it go because you're shifting into something that's more in alignment with joy, more in alignment with moving forward and not making this the focus, right? So shifting our thoughts into a place of what it is we're trying to co-create. And we're doing it all from the heart space. So this week, where are you being called to tweak your process? Where in your life are you being called to bring more heart into your space? That might be Keone, that might be a good question. That might be something good for us to consider, as I'm just going to write that down real quick.
Oh, what was that? I was asleep.
Where are we being?
I'm kidding.
Did you write it down already? To connect with our heart space, I think it was. Connect.
Are you going to use that for one of your 2 questions?
Yeah, I think I might, because it feels right.
That's a good one.
Or to open to our heart space, or include our heart space.
That's a good one.
Okay. Sorry, pause. If If I don't write it down when I'm in this channeled state, it just goes away.
You're going to pull wands for that. Just remember I said that.
Okay, we're going to pull wands. I love that. I can't wait for us to get our first wand and you'd be like, I told you, who's the psychic now? All right, so our oracle, our corresponding oracle message, we're pulling cards from the Divine Feminine Oracle from Megan Watterson, one of my faves. So I'm probably going to just make mincemeat out of this name. So just bear with me. Sarada Devi, Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. Oh, love this card. Okay. So when we're talking about Three of Swords and we're talking about, the thoughts and the wounds and, people coming at us and saying things, and most of the time they're not meaning to be hurtful. A lot of this is connected to the judgment that we place on it. I was just having a conversation with a client earlier today. It's really about what we place our value on becomes very valuable. The money itself is printed on paper. What is paper worth? But collectively, society has decided that paper and the different amounts of paper, what is printed on that paper is pretty damn significant. It's pretty damn valuable. It means a lot. But that's a judgment that we have all collectively agreed to. We've placed it and we've agreed to it. So what we choose to judge or what we choose not to judge, I want to say, connects directly to our own power. So if you're judging somebody, you're judging a situation, you are in essence disempowering yourself. You think that you're making a commentary on what's going on, and you think that you're actually strengthening yourself by having that, but really you're distancing yourself from either the collective or you're distancing yourself from connection with that person. And what was our message? Our phrase of the week was pleasure in connecting, right? Pleasure in connection. So if we are all here to connect and to have these, weird, wild, wonderful experiences through connection and have joy through connection, we need to eliminate judgment. And I'm not talking about discernment. Discernment and judgment are two different things. We're talking about when you're putting judgment on something, you are distancing yourself. You're saying, I don't agree with that, or I'm all in with that, which means that I'm all out with something else. And so I'm excluding certain aspects. But if we are all one, and if everything is the frequency of love, then we are in essence excluding a certain level of love. So if everything is love, everything is energy, and love is energy, there are higher vibrational frequencies of love, and there are some lower vibrational frequencies of love. And yet it's all love. So the Divine Mother is coming through, and she's talking about unconditional love exists within all of us. We can all tap into it. This week, our challenge or our opportunity today, I feel, or this week, I feel, is to really connect with what does it mean to love another person unconditionally? What does it mean to not judge a stranger or an acquaintance, for example, for the choices that they make? What if you were to just say, you know what? You're human like I am. You're on this wild ride called life the way that I am. And we may not see eye to eye on where things are at. And I still love you unconditionally, because at the core, we have a lot of similarities. At the core, I'm afraid of a lot of shit too on this journey. And I may express that differently. And I may choose to, climb out of that fear well differently than you do. You might choose never to climb out of that well. And I love you anyway for it. I don't have to like your choices. I don't have to agree with your path. But I can love you for it, which means that I'm not judging you. I'm discerning about what works for me. I'm discerning about what value I am placing on this experience or this connection. There's definitely all of that, but I'm not judging you. I'm discerning what works for me. I'm taking what works for me, and I'm leaving the rest behind with love and respect for its journey. So that is our challenge this week, guys. It's how can we really connect to that vibration and frequency of unconditional love? Many of us in this lifetime have not really experienced true unconditional love. And that's a sad fact. Here's how you can change it. Here's how I experienced for the first time unconditional love. My doggies, the puppies, the animals, they love you unconditionally. And dogs in particular, they're very devoted to you. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter that I haven't brushed my teeth in the morning and I had crazy garlic stuff the night before. It doesn't matter that my makeup is all over my face. It doesn't matter that I've, gained or lost whatever weight I've lost. That dog loves me unconditionally. And it's not just because I feed it. In fact, dogs tend to, I don't want to talk about abuse, but there are many animals that are abused. They don't get fed, and yet they still go to the owner looking for some kind of affection or love or wanting to protect, wanting to help. So if you have not had the true experience of unconditional love in your life, connect with an animal, specifically a dog, but you can get this from cats too. Connect with that unconditional love. I don't know, Keone, are you getting that from your cat housemate?
The one that I just threw into the room because she wouldn't stop knocking down things while you were talking. That cat.
Yeah, she just wanted to be included.
The one who destroys half the house, and when I look at her, she takes off into the cage because she knows she's in trouble.
Aww.
It's a real fun experience. Everyone should get one.
You're so funny. Well, if it makes you feel any better, you were calling me because you were worried that I was running late. I had to clean up cat poop off of the carpet, and I spent an hour and a half cleaning the carpet yesterday. And so that was not a pleasant experience. So I totally get you. With the unconditional love, they also teach you how to love unconditionally in return. So.
Yeah, she's reminding me of why I'm a dog person. Yes.
Got you. All right. Well, let's do our grab your deck section. Do we have
Sorry, I'm a little quick on the trigger.
It's all right. That's all good. So welcome to Grab Your Decks. This is our Q&A section, and I'm going to encourage you all to grab your own decks. It can be a tarot deck or an oracle deck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my happy channeled place, and we kind of already have one question, but I'm going to channel a second question, and you'll be able to do a card pull. And this card pull is taking what we have just gone through for our general reading and be able to apply it to your life. So if you want to submit something, you can submit anything in the chat if you'd like. You can also come on live. Would love to have some people to interact with. I always love seeing cards because I'm always so happy to be able to help you to learn how to apply that guidance for yourself using your own decks. So I'm going to go into my happy place right now and channel some questions. Keone, take it away.
All right. Well, she's in her happy place. Coming up with questions. Thank you, those who are here every week. We definitely appreciate you. If you're here for the first time, thank you for being here. I don't know you're in the chat or watching unless you say something, a hello or hi, then I'll know you're here. I have starred a lot of your requests. We will go at them in order. We'll start with Ragu, who's online. As always, please click the link if you ever want to come on live. You do not have to be on camera. I know some people don't want to be on camera. We can just have your audio and not your video. It helps out a lot to have you on live. So thank you all. I see Try is in here. Thank you. Oh, I didn't want to pronounce your name wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but I know you're going to come on, so I'll do it right then. And we will also post some of the comments towards the end. So don't want you to think I'm ignoring any of your comments. I try to fit them in when they're relevant to whatever Stacy is talking about. Enjoy having you here. And our first person is already backstage, ready to come online.
All right. Thank you, Keone. Okay, so our first card pull is, where are we being called to include our heart in our decisions this week? Where are we being called to include our heart in our decisions, into our heart space?
Mhm.
And the second card pull is, what card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week? What card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week?
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
Lisa, are you still here? Oh, you're here. Okay, you froze for a second. I didn't know
Oh,
what
okay. Sorry.
happened.
I
All
was
right.
silent for a minute, but
Are we ready for our first guest?
we are absolutely.
It's Mr. Perfect Attendance himself, Ragu.
Hey, Ragu, how are you?
Hey Stacy, hi Keone, how are you?
Hey, Ragu, I just want to say before you get started, I know you had an awesome sidekick the last time you were on here. Sorry, it's gonna come down a little bit. You know, Stacey's pretty good at what she does, but I know the last person you had was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, my last card pull was very on the spot. I don't know who the psychic is now.
Actually, Keone, I thought you did a great job. I thought you did. You pulled from the ISIS deck, and the ISIS deck is a bit tricky to read because it doesn't really have like specific keywords. It just kind of is what it is. So I thought you did a great job.
That deck scared me, but I'll give the floor back to you, Ragu.
Okay.
Hi, Ragu. What
Hi,
card
hi Stacy.
today?
I pulled from Goddess Guidance Oracle cards, Doreen Virtue.
Sounds great. So, what are you being called to include in your heart space into your decisions today or this week?
It's very interesting.
Ooh, Irene, what's the word? I'm not seeing the keyword.
Irene, peace.
Oh, peace. Interesting. So,
And the sentence at the bottom says there is no need to worry as everything is working out beautifully.
I love that. So, I want you to take a look at the card, and we're going to do a little experiment today. I want you to look at the card and tell me what you smell.
Smell of sea when you are sitting on the beach.
I love that. So, and it's interesting you choose the word sea versus ocean. So, what sea are you picturing in your mind right now?
Bay of Bengal.
So connected to home, connected to home origins. So this week, when you are making decisions and you're sort of bringing that into your heart space, what would be a beautiful experience for you is to go into a memory of you at that sea. And that is going to connect you to your heart space right away because it automatically brings you that sense of peace and that sense of calm.
Yes, and the word peace actually is the one which attracted me.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, your second card pull. What card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week?
This is fantastic. You can't make, like you say, you can't make this up.
Yeah. Freya. I love Freya. What's her keyword?
Bold.
Bold. That's
And
awesome.
Sentence at the bottom says, unleash your adventurous side, take risks and be daring.
Perfect. So what's the first thing you're drawn to on the card?
The cat that is looking at me. We were talking about cats and cat is looking at me with eyes wide open. And the same thing that lady Freya is also looking at me with eyes wide open. So like tempting me with something.
Ooh. So first of all, we'll talk about the temptation in a second. What is the cat saying to you? What's the message that the cat's giving you right now?
Come and get me.
And then what's the temptation?
I don't know. I have to understand a little bit more. I have to look more deeply into your eyes.
Okay, we'll look more deeply into her eyes. He's like, I don't want to tell you on live camera. I don't want
something
to tell
like
you what he's telling me.
Something like that.
You better watch it, mister. I see who's sitting next to you. I see your shoulder. You better watch it.
That's so funny. No, that's great. So the card that can offer you to support on how to connect with unconditional love is to be bold, to
Yes.
go after what you want, to go
Yes.
after it. Because when you go after it, you're going to feel that connection. Love as frequency, not as feeling. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in the entire body. You're going to get all the tingles, all the feels. And that is the unconditional love of source, giving you
Pleasure connection.
to whatever you want.
Pleasure connection.
Yes, pleasure connection. Bingo.
I don't know how you make this happen, Stacy. Everything connects together very well. The cards that I pull at random, and words that you said, and the phrase of the week, everything connects together
Well,
like
I
a
would like
string.
to tell you that it's all me and that I'm just Superwoman, but I'm not. I'm just the conduit. But I appreciate the fact that it comes full circle and eventually makes some sense. Because some of the stuff that comes out and comes through, I'm like, I have no idea how this is even going to be a message. And then somehow in the end, it makes some kind of sense. Yeah, someone just put synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
She has,
Yeah.
she has a good teacher.
Yes, Keone, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Thanks so much, Raghu. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Keone. Thank you, Stacy.
All right.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
having perfect attendance. All right.
Yes, it's awesome.
Okay. Sue Roush would like a card pull.
Sure.
right.
I'm gonna pull an oracle for you today, Sue.
And if I pronounce your name wrong, Sue, please forgive me.
All right, Sue, we got Ariadne. Mistress of the labyrinth, my soul knows the way, and the only way out is through.
Ooh.
So definitely feeling here for you this week when we're talking about where are we being called to include heart space into our decisions. The message coming through here for you is to understand that you have to go through the heart in order to do anything. And what's been happening for you, it's not so much that you've been heartless or anything like that. I don't mean to imply that, but it's like you've been really in the head and trying to sort things out and figure things out and figure things out that seemingly should be logical and rational and should be able to make sense. And yet they don't, because nothing in the energy of where we're at makes sense right now. So for you, I feel like it's really being intentional about bringing everything into the heart space. And right now you feel that there's a labyrinth to get to the heart. It's not a clear, direct channel because you've got all of this clutter that you're worrying about and fretting about and, that's in your space. And so she's coming through, the mistress of the labyrinth, and she's saying, listen, your soul knows the way. Your soul is going to find the heart space. It's a matter of setting the intention to connect only with the heart space. And you can even set a further intention to say, okay, anything that comes into my heart space before it actually gets in, there's a filter around the heart that evaporates, eviscerates, dissolves anything that is not mine to heal, fix, or otherwise deal with. I feel that's really, really important for you to consider. So the heart space, it's, how are you being called to include the heart space in your decisions? It's getting out of the head. So you see, she's got this beautiful halo around her head, and the light is coming through it. The labyrinth is there, but you need to get out of the labyrinth, right? So it's understanding that I need to get out of my head in order to get to the heart space. There is a direct connection to the heart, but it's not through the head. It's not through the head. So soul knows the way. Right now you're up here and you're trying to filter everything down and find a place for it. Soul knows the way. Come up from the soul into the heart space. So that's where you're being called to connect. What card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week? Oh, Lilith. I love her. The first woman. I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose the life that I desire to live. So when we're talking about unconditional love this week, look at what's happening in her chest. The light is coming from her heart space. So I feel like it is tied to this original message. And what can offer you support on how to connect with unconditional love? in essence, it's taking it. It's not allowing anyone to say you can or cannot have this, that, or the other thing. It's stepping up and saying, no, I know what I want and I'm going to take it. The sort of the story or the background of Lilith, the energy here was that she was Adam's first wife. And because she would not submit to Adam, she was cast out of heaven. You know, and of course, this is an allegory, right? But there was shame involved in being cast out. But she also was the rebel. She was like, oh, hell no, you're not going to tell me that I'm any less than or any worth any less than you. What you get, I deserve as well, if that's something that I want. And she was cast out for it. But she's, you know, true divine feminine, coming back into the world and saying, I will not be shunned. I will not be silenced. I will be seen and heard, and I will be felt. And I can be felt in, I want to say, more intense ways and more forceful ways, or I can be felt in more tender and gentle ways. But it's my choice how I'm showing up. So I feel that that's a really important thing for you in terms of the unconditional love. It's giving yourself permission to be exactly who you are and to take what you want. Not even so much what you need, what you want. Thank you so much for submitting your question.
All right. Paolo said, let's pull a card for Paolo. He'd like some insight. So let's pull a card for the questions that we have.
All right. So I'm going to pull tarot cards for Paolo. And the first card pull, where are we being called to connect to our heart space for our decisions this week? Ooh, Ace of Cups. I love the Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups, aces are pure potential. Cups is love. Cups is the heart. Cups is the feelings, the emotions. I always say it's the ocean of emotion. It's also our psychic ocean. It's where we receive, where we feel into psychic information. And so when we're talking about, you know, stepping into your heart space, what I'm really feeling here is there's an opportunity for you this week to initiate your heart into your decisions on a more consistent basis. I feel you, like many people in the world, myself included, you get the monkey mind. You're up here all the time. This is saying, wait a second. It's not that we're excluding the mind. We're just giving the mind a rest, and we're going to initiate the heart. We're going to bring the heart into its rightful place, which is the decision maker. You guys have heard me talk about this all the time because I'm such a sci-fi fan and I love Star Trek. It's the heart is Captain Picard and the mind is the first officer, Riker. But sometimes Riker's in charge. And sometimes he goes a little overboard and he does stuff he's not supposed to do. And his real job is to enact the wishes and the orders of Captain Picard, the heart. So your message this week in terms of your heart space and decisions is to initiate the heart, to be intentional about bringing the heart space to the forefront. The heart's the boss. The heart is the boss. That's going to allow you to get more fully out of life what you're looking to get out of life. Also, I'm drawn to the pink, the lotus underneath the chalice, you know, underneath the cup. And there's a moon, there's a full moon underneath the lotus. So the lotus is blooming through the moon energy, which is intuition, which is also mystery and the unknown. In the moonlight, things are not all that they seem and all that they appear to be. So for you, I feel like it's initiating the heart space and understanding that intuition can flow through the heart space, and it removes some of the fear around what wants to come through, what wants to be birthed, what wants to be initiated into the world. And how do you feel about that? That's how things are blooming. That's what's going to make this grow. Our second card pull, what card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week? Ten of Pentacles. So 10 of Pentacles is an interesting card because it's a card of ancestry and lineage. It's a card of legacy. Also, the way I like to see this card is it's you receiving everything that you worked hard to achieve. It's the manifestation of what you put into practice. It's the, I got my heart's desire and everything is working out well. Look, look at how many roses are around here. There's roses and hearts all over the place. 10, new beginnings based on an already established foundation. When we're looking at unconditional love, what I feel here is this week, the secret for you to unconditional love is to receiving unconditional love is by giving it. It's by focusing on the gratitude, focusing on all of the wonderfulness that you have around you, and evaluating what can I do with all of this wonderfulness that I'm grateful for? What can I do to make more of it, to help it to move forward? I can add my heart into the mix. Roses bloom. I can add the full bloom. It's not even a fresh bloom. It's the full bloom of my passion, my inner fire. I can add that to the mix. And in the process of doing that, I'm opening myself to a complete new beginning that is connected to the legacy that I am leaving behind on this planet, on Earth, that I'm leaving behind to the individuals that I connect with. So for you, there's a lot of energy here around, I want to say, ancestral connection, or understanding that you are changing and shifting things up on an ancestral level while you are here. You're providing healing to the ancestral line, and you're also leaving a legacy for that ancestral lineage to continue to move forward. I feel like there's something coming up here for you as well around, sort of birthing a new identity, or birthing a new aspect of yourself in relation to your lineage and in relation to the legacy. This can be more physical, like, having a baby, bringing a baby into the world. This can be bringing a new project into the world, or simply, not simply, aspect of yourself, a new piece of your identity, who you are and who you're choosing to show up. So some big things happening for you this week. Hope that makes some sense. Thank you so much for submitting your question.
All right. We've got Janice from Facebook that says, hello, can I get a card reading?
Absolutely, Janice. Okay, so I'm going to pull tarot for you. I'm going to pull one tarot and one oracle for you today. Oh, and there is your tarot. It's flying out. Where are you being called to open your heart space in your decisions? Another ace. Ace of Swords. So this is new thought, fresh thought. This is clearing the mind so that you can receive the intuitive guidance that comes through. It's free and clear of monkey mind. It's free and clear of ego. And it is pure intuition that's coming through. So when we're talking about where you being called to connect to your heart space in all your decisions, it's understanding that I need to let go of the perceived control that my mind constantly tries to take over when I'm trying to enact something that comes through me through my intuition. It's saying, and I'm famous for saying this. It's telling ego, here's a lollipop and a coloring book. I see you. Go sit in the corner and occupy yourself. I'm going to go ahead and do something new and different. And it might freak you out a little bit. And yeah, I'm taking a bit of a risk. There might be some pain in this, but through that pain comes growth. And it might not even be painful. It might be a little bit of discomfort. And that discomfort is like a paper cut, or that discomfort is having to rip a Band-Aid off. Would you want to stop growth or not receive for yourself huge abundance or major joy in your life because you're trying to avoid, 15 seconds of the pain of ripping the Band-Aid off, or the 2 days of discomfort of the paper cut on your finger? It's putting things into perspective. And so this new thought, where it's pure, it's not connected to the ego thought, the fear and the anxiety and the worry and the planning and the sorting out and the, oh my God, how's this all going to work? This is saying, wait a second, new thought is new intuition coming through, and it's pure potential. What do I want to do with it? So now I'm going to pull an oracle deck for you. And this is what card can offer support on how to connect with unconditional love this week. Oh, there it is. Yesha So Gael, I'm not pronouncing that properly. I apologize. Lady of the Lotus born. We're getting a lot of lotuses today, peeps. Embodiment is the deepest bliss. My body was made for enlightenment. Unconditional love, I feel very much this week for you is about connecting to the body. I'm seeing for you that there's a lot of you, like a lot of people, when there's pain or when there's discomfort or there's something uncomfortable, you go into your mind space, which means you're not present. You're not necessarily focused. The easiest way or the quickest way to become present is to become aware of your physical body, feeling into the body. And I'm seeing that there are a couple of pain points. I feel that you've got a couple of things going on in the body that create some physical pain or physical discomfort. And part of that is why you tend to leave the body, because you don't want to feel the pain. What I'm hearing is this isn't about, diving in and feeling all sorts of pain. It's about connecting or reconnecting to the body, to fall in love with the body again, to give the body its due. Your body wants to be acknowledged for the fact that it is on this ride with you, on this journey with you. And there's so much that it can show you, so much pleasure, coming full circle, so much pleasure that it can show you. But in order for you to be able to receive all of that, you have to be able to receive the unconditional love of Source. And to receive unconditional love of Source requires you being in the physical body as well. So moving with the body will help to bring you more in alignment with the body. This definitely feels like, I want to say, grounding, but it's grounding because you want to experience. Grounding because you want to be in the body in that moment to have a particular experience. And through that process, you will experience joy. You won't experience so much of the pain. You will experience the joy. But movement is important because it's going to help to move and shift stagnant energy that creates pain. So I'm hoping that makes some sense. Thanks so much for submitting your question.
Laura says, interesting. I pulled the Queen of Cups from my Crow Tarot deck.
Oh, beautiful. I had a crow visit me the other day. I had a series of crows visit me just a couple of days ago. And I love crow energy. It is it's the animal that represents sort of between the as above, so below. It can go into the kind of like the raven. It can go into the underworld, and it can also be, above and in the air. And it's very psychic, very magical, the energy of the crow. So that's really cool. So I love that you pulled Queen of Cups. And so I'm going to just assume that you pulled that for your first question. So where are we being called to connect or to include our heart space in our decisions? Queen of Cups is beautiful. Queen of Cups is the energy of, I know exactly how I feel about things. I'm very clear on how I feel about things. And I'm not going to get overly emotional, or I'm not going to get overly attached from an emotional perspective to any person, place, or thing that's going on around me. It's going to bring me clarity to be clear on how I feel and where my frequency is at. And when I'm clear on how I feel and where my frequency is at, nobody else can, the tide can't take me over. I'm not going to blow away in the wind. I have structure. I have balance. I'm hearing the word completion for you. I have completion. I have resolve, understanding exactly where it is that I want to be. So when we're talking about your heart space, I feel very much that when you pull that stuff into your heart space to make any of your decisions, it's embracing or embodying that energy of the Queen of Cups. It's the sovereignty of, yeah, I got this. I don't need anyone else telling me how I feel. I don't need anyone else telling me how I feel. I feel like that is your message right there. Something's coming up for you this week where someone is going to be trying to tell you how you feel. And at first you're going to go, I wonder if maybe I should feel different. And you're going, wait a second. No, I'm in my sovereignty. No. I know how I feel. And you want me perhaps to feel something different because that might make you feel less uncomfortable. But too bad. Sucks to be you. Oh. Here's your cookie and go along your way. Here's how I feel. Here's how I really feel about it. So thank you so much for submitting that. That's beautiful.
All right, awesome. Couple comments from the gallery, and then you'll wrap us up. So on YouTube, Jose says 10 of Pentacles is one of the most beautiful cards in tarot.
Yes, Jose. Yes.
Ragu from YouTube says agree to disagree rather than disagree to agree.
I like that.
I was a little confused, but then he followed up with the bar sounds right about now. I think that's about what I said earlier.
Yes, you were like, okay, my version of this is the bar down the street.
Janice says, hello, yep, you mentioned that before in a session. I've got to chase the monkey mind away. I will keep working on that. I do stay in my head a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Janice. And you know what? There are a lot of us who stay in our heads, including me. I struggle with that myself. So when I share it and I offer it to you, it's not from a place of judgment. It's actually from a place of knowing, because I'm right there with you.
Jose says Ace of Swords makes me think of A.A. Michael.
Yes, Archangel Michael. So I love Ace of Swords as well. You know, when we talk about Archangel Michael, he carries the sword of truth. And in this depiction, it casts off the yellow light and the blue light, which is very Archangel Michael. He is all about the solar plexus chakra, but truth is connected to the throat chakra, which is blue. So yeah, that totally makes sense, Jose. I love that comparison.
And last one, Ragu says in Hinduism, crow represents ancestors.
Ooh, so we got a little theme going on here as well with Paulo's reading. Ah, that's so cool. I love that.
Stacey, sorry everybody who wanted card reads. We didn't get to it. Try red. We'll get you in here next time because we know you're a faithful watcher.
Yes.
Stacey, it's back to you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just want to let everyone know that my Phoenix Rising event is coming up this Monday. I forget what day that is. I think it's actually August 29th. It's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are still spots available. If you want to know what is coming up for the month ahead for September, this is the event to join. We do a really cool burning release ceremony to release whatever we want to release from August, clear the slate, and then receive the energy of what's coming through for us in September so we can be fully prepared for how that comes through and what we decide we're going to do. And it addresses literally every single aspect of our lives, anything that you could be going through. It's only $25. Would love to see you guys there. You can check out my website, theblackfeatherintuitive.com, go under events, and it is Phoenix Rising. We're probably also going to be putting something in the chat here, so you can click on that to book. Would love to see you guys there. Otherwise, have the most amazing week. Really pay attention to your heart spaces this week and have joy through pleasure. See you later.